I'd just been clearing up in the loft and I came across this old power supply box from a few years ago, so I thought I would share this with you. So as I remember, it's got a PC power supply inside, which would explain why it has the 3.3 volts, 5 volts and 12 volts, and it also explains some of the indicators on here, which would be off the standard power supply interface. You can see that I've added on this hub, this USB hub here. I've written on here DCP and Apple, so I've obviously wired these so that Apple has a network of resistors across the D plus and D minus to indicate to the device how much current it can draw, and DCP is the specification, I think, out of China, where they loop the D plus D minus together in order to indicate high current capability. So I've got this trailing lead here, which is obviously to put 5 volts into something. I can't remember what. So I thought I'd just fire it up and we could have a look. So I've got a kettle lead here. Let's plug that in. You can see now this standby light is on, so that's a feature of PC power supplies. There's a low current, I can't remember whether it's 5 volt or 3.3, but there's some voltage always available, and this is a standard feature of PC power supplies, that you've got this low current output from the power supply even when it's switched off, kind of thing, which is used in PCs to power things like external USB hubs. So let's power it on. So I can hear the fan going. You see this light stable, so again this is a standard output on PC buses, PC power supply buses. So it just lags slightly behind the power on, and it tells you that the voltages are now good on the interface. See, I've got this quite nice switch on here. I can't remember when I bought this, but it was certainly decades ago. I've got a few of these on various things, and they have a little incandescent bulb inside, so you get this rather nice consistent light out of it. So I've got some holes in the bottom for the fan to blow heat out of. Right, we can start taking some measurements. So let's have a look at this one here. I don't seem to be able to get a voltage out of this jack. Let's try plugging in this thing. Measure this, well, it should be a 5 volt output, I guess. Well, the reading seems to be jumping around a bit. I'm not getting anything out of that. Okay, well, let's try putting this little voltmeter on here. There we go, so that's reading. Oh, I think the socket fell out. Yeah, so that's reading about 5 volts. And we'll have a look at these sockets on the side. .3, 5 volts, 12 volts, and then I think this was a lead tester that I added to it. So let's get a lead out. There you go. That's it's probably got a resistor inside, just a load resistor to stop me from blowing leads up. So it's rocking about a bit. I'm missing a foot here. My foot fell off it. So let's have a quick look inside and see how I built that. So this enclosure is one of these electrical boxes, you know, a waterproof or water resistant box to put external electrics into. I'll probably pick this up, you know, at Screwfix or Tool Station or something like that. I don't know. Let's take the power out. Make sure it's dead. So, got a couple of wires going to the USB hub on the top, and then inside, yeah, not many surprises really. So I have a little bit of Vera board there that's got some current limiting resistors for these front panel LEDs. And I've got down there, I can see there's a little buck converter with, I think that might be 12 volts going in, and then 5 volts. Not sure what that was for, so that's obviously not used. That's obviously not used anymore, so that wire doesn't go anywhere. But of course the main functional component is this PC power supply. So this is quite a compact one, you know, from some kind of small form factor PC. That says CFI, it's the manufacturer. Model LC 8300 SFX for those playing along at home. And yeah, so 3 volts 20 amps, 5 volts 12 amps, 12 volts 8 amps. So, you know, a moderately powerful power supply. And then this is my illuminated power switch, which no doubt just goes and selects the standby switch from the power supply. Oh, and that's got 12 volts to light up the incandescent bulb in the switch. So there we go. I mean, this kind of design you can see repeated 100 times on YouTube, because people often build these you know, bench power supplies, sort of do-it-yourself bench power supplies using old PC power supplies, because they're, you know, obviously cheap and plentiful and very easy to control. The only disadvantage being, of course, if you've got 8 amps available, if you short it out through something and then, you know, there's no current limiting, you'll get 8 amps through it and you're going to fry whatever equipment it is you're testing, which is probably why I don't use this particular model any longer. But there we go, just an interesting blast from the past, really.